When you find a real estate platform that aligns everyone in the entire company financially by making us real estate agents owners, so when the average agent wins, everyone wins, that's the secret to success. And when you surround yourself with like-minded entrepreneurial people who absolutely love what they do, they love serving people, they love God and life, and you put yourself in an environment of high energy, high producing, positive people every day, you can't help but succeed in business and life. We are changing the real estate industry and changing real estate agents' lives. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Forever podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Forever podcast. Today, I'm super excited to be interviewing and talking to one of my now good friends, Gail Demarco. How you doing today, Gail?
I am awesome. Thanks so much for having me on your podcast, Andre. As you know, I'm a huge fan of yours as well.
Well, I appreciate that, Gail. Hey, everyone, you're in for a treat. Gail's been a real estate professional for 9 years. She comes from the luxury industry, does a lot of luxury sales. She came from Remax and Sotheby's. She moved to St. Augustine, Florida. I'm not sure she'll tell us how long ago, but she has a business in St. Augustine, Florida, and Sacramento, California. So she's a top producing agent. People really look up to her in the luxury, especially in the luxury field. And I think she'll even tell us about, I forgot the exact number, but what made $989,000 in commission in your 5th year in real estate. Is that correct?
You know what? That's kind of when the light bulb went off, because I always wanted to make $1 million, right? And I was like, how did I not make $1 million? Well, shoot, I paid Sotheby's $289,000 that year, one year. So I was like, that made me start to think that maybe I needed to go to a place where I could actually keep a little bit more of my money, because you had the franchise fees and then you had your split. And keep in mind, I was a single agent then too.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So let's jump right in. Hey, listeners, if you have any questions for Gail, go ahead and just put them in the comment section there. Make sure to send this out to your friends. They're going to get a lot of gold nuggets out of here and share it on Facebook, etc. But welcome, Bob. I see Rachel and Tim, Latanya. Thanks for joining us, and let's just jump in, Gail, and kind of tell us your story. Tell us your background, whatever you'd like to share.
Okay, well, I got into real estate about 9 years ago. I was a wedding photographer, rock and roll photographer, and I worked for Harley Davidson for the last 25 years. Prior to that, I worked for the motorcycle magazines. I traveled to Sturgis, rode my bike there by myself more than once. And
I didn't know about you. I got 2 Harleys and that's on my bucket list to go to Sturgis. So we got to talk about this later.
As a matter of fact, I have a guy buying a bike this Thursday from us. So yeah, I was just down at the drag races, the vintage motorcycle races in Daytona last weekend, because I'm a huge fan of vintage motorcycle riding as well, Sons of Speed. But I was, very, very happy. Loved being a photographer. If you would have told me that I was never going to be a photographer, I would rather die. That's how much I loved being a photographer. I was a photographer in high school. I was very introverted back then. And it was a way to get in front of people and connect, because I really didn't come from a family where you could really talk. I had my dad was very strict old Asian guy, and you were never, to speak unless you were asked a question. So the camera helped me communicate so well. So anyway, as God has it, God always has a better and bigger plan than we do, right? So I was going through a really tough time. I was going through a divorce. I had 22 horses, a 12-year-old, and 6 llamas. And I fell off my horse and broke my hand so bad that I couldn't use it for 2 years. Had 2 different surgeries. My nickname was the Claw, right? Because I couldn't move my hand more than that. I couldn't, and it was a really, really tough time for me. So at the end of the day, I had to call a realtor and tell him, listen, I just can't photograph you today. I just can't lift a camera. My hand's hurting too much. And he's like, you know what? Let's have a cup of coffee. And we sat and we talked. He's like, you'd be a great realtor. I'm like, that sounds horrible. That sounds like the word. It sounds like a death sentence. I'm like, why would I want to do that? Because all I could think about was paperwork and, why would I want to do something like that? It didn't even sound like sexy or alluring or exciting at all. But I had a $6,000 truckload and transfer fee come into my house in about, 2 months. And I was like, I had to figure out how to pay for it. So this is how much I didn't want to do it. I didn't even study for the test. And I was hoping to fail, but I passed.
No
I was
kidding.
like,
Wow.
shoot. So that's kind of how the whole thing started.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you got into real estate 9 years ago. So do the math, 2023 now. So
14, really.
Yeah.
6.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, actually, I didn't really do it full time. I think it's going on 10 years. So I went in, my first year, I kind of just really was trying to figure it out because nobody would help me. Nobody would help me understand how to do that. In photography, I knew how to run a business. I shot 70 weddings a year, right? And kept keeping all those files straight and going to different countries and all that stuff. And for me, the jumping into the luxury world was super easy because those were my clients anyway. My average wedding was $10,000, right? So, I would do weddings for $25,000. I traveled all over the place. And so it wasn't like I didn't know how to have those conversations, right? But when you are a perfectionist, like I am, like you are, and you want to know that you are the best of the best. And that's how I was brought up. It's like, you're not good. Mediocre is not good enough. Good is not good enough. And you have got to, go in and know that you're going to excel and people are going to say she's good at that, or, oh my God, they're a photographer. And so I really, really had a hard time to be in, and I really did not like real estate. My first 5 years of real estate, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait till I, could do something else, because these people were bossing me around, right? I didn't know how to stand. I didn't have the confidence for these sellers. I didn't have, the experience to say, no, this is the way, because what sellers want, let's face it, they want to be led, right? They want somebody to take charge and take control, or they will take charge and take control of you and run you over.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it's like not having where you have to have that listing, right? Because there was a time when I started, I needed that deal. I had to work with that buyer. I had to work with that seller because I had to pay for things, and I didn't have a state. I was broke, 10 years ago, I was broke. So it was, and as I got better, and the only way to get better was I had to hire coaches. So I was paying, up until I joined eXp, I was paying $4,000 a month in coaching with 3 different coaches, $4,000 a month. I've spent over $250,000 on coaching. So people are like, well, how many coaches do you have now? I don't have any. Right? I have like you guys, because we coach together, because it's a whole different mindset. Where at eXp, I'm not here to shout about eXp, but I'm just saying people share, like people that in there, or I could never get somebody from Remax or Sotheby's or anybody to say, hey, here's a listing presentation. Hey, look at these comps. What do you think I should price this house at? What do you do for marketing? Everything was a big secret. So it was so hard for me to advance. So I just had, instead of working 8 hours a day, I had to work 16 hours a day. And instead of working 5 days a week, I had to work 7 days a week. Instead of doing 1 open house a week, and I had to do 4 open houses a weekend. And that's what I did. That was you're
a hustler. You're just hustling. You're getting it done, doing what you have to do to get the experience and get the business going. One thing you mentioned, we actually have coaches at eXp, or other business partners that coach us and help us. The big difference is we don't have to pay for it, right? They volunteer to help us. All you gotta do is ask, and we get all the help that we need, right?
And now I'm coaching for free, right? So I'm coaching 5 days a week, 2 hours a day, and we're doing it because we want to help agents.
Right.
So, and that's something we don't miss. And you're in my coaching group, and we coach together, and it's awesome. So, we learn from each other. There's so much of that. So that's what really, really, I feel is like my gift. God gives us different gifts, and that's and we have to shine and help people and serve people, whether it's your clients or other agents or your family.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we get to do it all for free, and whatever the good Lord tells you, hey, the more you do for him and do for others, it's all going to come back to you tenfold, right? So how did it tell us, 5 years in the business, made almost $1 million. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll transition into why you made the change when you were already obviously doing really well to look at eXp.
So now keep in mind when I started, okay, so I worked for the number one, put it this way, when I got into photography, I found the number one photographer. It happened to be in Australia. So I partnered with him in Australia. This is when, after I kind of shifted from the rock and roll world and into weddings, because in the rock and roll world, I was able to do quite a few celebrity weddings, and because nobody wanted to do weddings. And I was like, this is so easy. This is so easy. And you get to eat cake, right? So then at the end of the day, real estate, 5 years into it. So I was from prospecting a FSBO, right? It was like my first year in real estate. I was prospecting these the guy had 4 listings, lots he was building. It was like 3.8 million. And I had never been in a house that was even $1 million, right? My house was $500,000 that I bought. So I went over there, and I was a little bit nervous. We walked the lots. I pretend, he had the plans, and he basically said to me, because you know what, I always go with this, agent. So he said the name, and I didn't really recognize the name because I was brand new. I said, well, he goes, but I'm not going to go with him because he has 27 listings, and I won't get the priority in the service. So I'm going to go with this other agent, this other woman. So I looked at him, I go, you know what? So I'm always trying to isolate the problem, right? I'm always trying to isolate it. And I said, well, what if I can get this guy to hire me? Then you could get him, and I'll make sure your listings are a priority. And he probably never thought that it would ever happen. And I called him, he didn't call me back. I called him again, he didn't call me back. I called him again. And then I just sent him an email and said, I notice you don't ever take family vacations. I've looked at your Facebook. Your family goes without you. Here's what I bring to the table. I'm a new agent, but I am not new to hard work. I said, I will do whatever it takes. I will take your dog to the vet. I will take your car to the car wash. I will clean the office. I will empty the garbage. I will clean the toilets. Whatever it takes to work with you, I will be that person. He called me like within 5 minutes of me sending it.
No kidding. Wow.
And he ended up purchasing, I talked him into buying a Sotheby's because I thought that was the next best thing. So I even went down to the Bay Area and I worked at a Sotheby's for 6 months. And then, he ended up opening up 2 offices. We're still best friends to this day. But what I learned from him was no lockbox, no life. Because we would be at an event, like his son was a phenomenal singer. We'd be at like a sushi restaurant, and I'd look at his wife and go, where did he go? And she'd say, oh, he had to go see Dr. So-and-so to bring the paperwork, or doctor this or doctor that. And I was like, you know what? I don't want that for my life. I don't want that for my life, right? So I used to tell him, you sell everything, over $1 million, and I'll sell everything under $1 million. And it wasn't like he ever said, hey, Gail, you know what? Here's a great seller. He's going to list his price great. He's going to treat us amazing. And it's in the best neighborhood. It was usually like, I'd say, where's Calusa? It would be like 2 hours away or something. So at the end, I realized then, just because I was working with the top luxury guy, he wasn't going to give me luxury anything, right? He wasn't going to give me, I had to figure it out. So everything I did, my first year with him, I did I think it was 10 million. And then I kept going up and up and up. And, at the end of the day, when the reason I left Sotheby's is because he had a massive heart attack and he almost died. And we were at his deathbed, he was holding my hand at the hospital, and he looked at me and he said, don't let this be you. Don't let this be you. So I was like, ooh, well, this is probably not a good time to give my resignation. You're in the hospital. So I waited, 6 months, and I kept And he was just a wonderful man. He goes, you know what? I want you to do what's best for you. I wanted to grow a team. At Sotheby's, it's hard to grow a team because you have to pay a franchise fee. Then you have to do a broker split. So what team member, even if you're at 20%, is going to work for 36%? I knew I needed leverage. So I thought, because I didn't know about eXp, I had no idea. I thought, well, Remax offered me a great deal, right? I only paid them $220,000 when I went over there.
$220,000 for 1 year?
$220,000, yeah. So for me and 4 team members, yeah. So that was the year that I left, because my accountant finally said, what are you doing? He goes, there's got to be a better way. Because, somebody sent me the video. I'm not going to watch this video. And I made him watch it. I said, I'll pay you to watch it. And he's like, how long have you known about this? And I said, well, probably about, I don't know, I've heard about it maybe 2, maybe 3 years. He goes, oh my God, Gail, I thought you were like the smartest agent that I have in my, as a client. He goes, but I did a little math here. You're not going to like this. And I'm like, what? What is it? He goes, well, you would have had with the stock. He goes, because that's what, I invest all my money with this firm. He basically said I would have had close to $4 million if I would have gone with him 4 years ago. He only guessed for 2 years, so he doubled it. Because you would have probably had $4 million between stock, revenue share. You'd be able to hang out with your grandkids right now. And he goes, so I said, well, okay, well, that was then. He goes, no. He goes, this is a growing company. You need to take a look at this. He goes, what's the worst thing that could happen? I go, I don't know. I go, it's kind of like a crazy science project. I go, it could either blow up or shoot, I'm only paying 16 grand. And he goes, you know what? Maybe, he goes, here's what's going to happen. You go over there, you're going to have a bunch of brokers call you, Remax, Sotheby's, Coldwell Banker, Compass. A lot of people called me and offered me free for a year. Come free. One of them said, not only free for a year, but we're going to write you a check for over $200,000 if you come to this firm.
Okay.
Right? And I was like, that's nothing. I can make that in 3 months. Why would I sell myself for that? But it was one of those things where I just didn't know, because I thought every brokerage was the same. You pay, the more you make, the more they take. Period, ended. Right? And they give you, really, what do they give you? It's like you love your broker. Well, yeah, they love you too. You're making them a whole lot of money, right? So it's like, but do you love your family more? That's what my accountant said. He goes, do you love your family more? I was like, oh, I could never leave. Well, guess what? When I left Remax, my manager, who I adored, he was kind of relieved because he stepped down from management and decided to just be an agent. I think I was the only thing holding him back there. So like, you think you're doing something for somebody else, and they already have a whole another itinerary plan, right? Because we just never know. It's God's timing. Like, is it right for you? Is it right for them? But at the end of the day, you just have to lean into what is your gut telling you? So I've always kind of said I've made a ton of mistakes in my personal life, but in my business life, I feel like I've done really well.
So that's amazing. So it was your accountant that really took a look at the eXp business model more than you and told you how much. Wow. Yep. That's the first time I've heard that story. That's amazing. That's awesome.
And he's still my business coach. I meet with him, every single month for the last 10 years. He took me from broke to a great retirement. And, when you say, who are your coaches, it's the 5 people that surround you, you're going to be, a reflection of. So, and he's definitely one of my 5 people.
That's awesome. So now you're in Florida, but for about a year, you said, so you have your business there, and you also have your business going in California. How do you make that work?
So today is actually 1 year that we closed on the house that I'm in right now. And, but I didn't really even consider this home till maybe about 4 months ago, where I just started doing some business here, because we're still running a team in California. But here's the beautiful thing. So I had, a really good sized team there, but the way that we work it in our team, we don't really want people in our team for more than 2 years, right? Because if I can't give you the tools to go out solo and to build your own team, then I'm not a good team leader. It is not the typical team like at Remax or those other brokerages where you're the queen bee and everything filters down from you, right? Because at eXp, when we're empowering the people, and I don't even want to say beneath us on the team, alongside of us to rise up and do more, they get stock, they get retirement, they get revenue share, so that's what my main goal is. So I decided, a lot of people know that I'm celebrating, my Medicare right now. So it's like, at the end of the day, when you can, people are like, why are you still working this hard? Because I do, I have enough, right? I have enough. I am right now, this is about legacy for my family, right? It's about legacy for my team members, helping them become millionaires, right? I never thought I would be. And I never thought that I would be mortgage free because I was broke 10 years ago, and I was renting because I lost my house in a short sale. Now I live in a great home and I don't have a mortgage, right? And I don't have to worry about when is my next deal coming because I'm blessing other people. They're doing great. And I get nice little referral fees from eXp where, at Sotheby's, there was at least 30 people that came. And I got, seriously, you know what I got for that? And only because that's all I had on him, a Chick-fil-A card. A gift card for Chick-fil-A. True story. Remax, wow. Nothing. They were always saying, hey, Gail, talk to so-and-so, or sure, they're great. Yeah, okay, great. Want to do an open house? So so now I'm able to, each team member, and my goal is to have no team members. That's my goal, right? Because I'd rather we can just refer the business out. So here in Florida, every single deal I've done, and I've done 4 since I've got, really gone at it in the last 4 months. And they've all been over 800. I'm closing one this week for $1.3 million. And this is just because I'm a really good networker and prospector. And,
right.
And I just bring another agent in and I give them 50% and I'll let them do all the work and let them help. And I remember the reason I left Mike Ferry coaching is because they said, Gail, I remember my coach said, if you give away 50%, that's giving away $1 million. I go, yeah, but it also opens the door. That was weird.
That's all right.
Sorry. Somebody was FaceTiming me. It was their birthday, sent them a message. And so basically they said, if you give away 50%, you'll never be a superstar. I go, superstar? Here's the one thing I always want to tell people. Always think of this. Is it income or ego? Because if it's your ego leading you, then you're making the wrong decision. When my coach told me that, I immediately thought, what is it that I'm spending money on? That's my ego. Well, it was Luxury Home Magazine, right? Because it wasn't for my clients to sell a house. It was just tell the other agents, look at me, I have this great listing. Who cares? They're not going to bring you a buyer. So, at the end of the day, my goal is to have of course, to have a lean, mean machine always, right? But when we were fast and furious over the last 4 years, we got fat and lazy. So now it's like retooling, pivoting, and just, getting back to basics.
Now you're able to run your company here in Florida and California.
2 weeks here, 2 weeks there.
All right, so you're traveling back and forth.
Yep. And I'll tell you why I do it. People are like, why do you do that? Well, I still love California. California is always going to be my home, right? I don't agree with a lot of the stuff there. Like, thank God we haven't had fires there this year. And I have a son there, and I have 2 grandkids there. So I'm kind of selfish. I go back there to hang out with my grandkids.
Sure.
Love on my team and love on other agents. I actually meet with so many I have a bunch of coaching clients that are actually not eXp that are with, the big brands. So I built a coaching business. So, I'll do some in-person training and that sort of thing. But, the goal is to eventually do less of that and more at the beach with my paddleboard, paddling with the alligators. I love that. It just keeps you really alert. And, it just, I go where I'm needed. My mom lives with me. So when she gets on my nerves, I'm out of here.
That's awesome. And it's true that you can be licensed in both states as multiple states, and there's no extra cost, fees, right? And there's only one cap, right? So you're only I know some companies, if you're in multiple markets, you have to play, multiple caps, but that's not the case here, right?
Think about this. I'm in California. I usually cap in a month, right? So, one deal, 2 deals, there caps me for the whole year, 16 grand. So I come to Florida and I pay 0. I'm 100%, 100%, because I'm not paying nothing. But for me to split some 50-50, I don't care, because at the end of the day, I'm pretty much here for free because I icon every year. So then I get my $16,000 back in stock. So I'm really not paying anything, right? But to be honest, Andre, I made a conscious decision. I share that with you that I'm not going to be selling anymore. I still prospect. I still go ahead and I get the listings, but I'm stepping out of production. This is the year. Last year I did almost 84 million in sales. The year before, 92 million in sales. This year, I don't care if I do 10 million, right? Because I'm passing on all the leads to people in my organization, and it feels really, really good not to have my phone ring, when I'm in the middle of going to a dinner, or if I'm going to go visit my grandkids, I'm at the airport. It feels really, really good to be present. This is the first time in my life that I've actually been present where I feel normal. The last 9 years have sucked the life out of me. And
well, it is a lot. When you first get into real estate business, I got in when I was 22, but it doesn't matter when you get in. At first it's okay, learning the industry, and most agents' first goal, besides selling a few houses, is get to 100,000, make $100,000 worth of income, right? And then depends on if you've gotten coaching or you figure it out on your own, but you finally get there, and then it's okay. Let's earn 200 or 300. And then at some point, well, geez, I can't get to the next level without building a team. So you start building a team. Then you're really doing pretty well with a team. And the next progression is become an independent broker owner. And a lot of us have, not all of us, but a lot of us have done that. But the thing that you really enjoyed and you had fun doing, being with clients and taking care of people, as you go up that that ladder, I guess, you start doing less and less the stuff that you like and more of the stuff that you don't really enjoy. And at some point, like you said, you feel like, why am I even doing this anymore?
It was exhausting. Yeah.
But tell me if it was the same for you when I got plugged into eXp, and one of their core values is fun, making real estate fun again. And with collaborating and the help that we have, and because we're all financially aligned through the ownership, I really am enjoying when I'm back helping people, coaching people. Don't have to charge them anything for it. We're helping them reach their goals and seeing them blossom and reach their first 100,000 or 200,000, or start building your own team or whatever it might be. And you're a big part of that, and you get compensated from the company, for doing it. I know it's been a breath of fresh air for me, and with all the different hats that I've worn as a solo agent, team leader, broker, owner, coach, I've never been this net profitable in the last 4 years that I've been at eXp compared to all the other hats that I've worn. It's been pretty life-changing.
Well, I don't know if I shared this with you. I probably didn't. I was that close to purchasing a franchise from Windermere. And so we went up there twice to go visit them, and loved it. But then like I always say, God just speaks to me. And I was like, I don't want to become a recruiter. That's not what I want to do, right? I don't want to have to be. And when I say recruiter, the only way to be profitable at a brokerage is if you recruit agents, right? Because you have to pay for the rent and the coffee and the toilet paper and the printer and all that good stuff. where that's the only way you make money. You know, you have one lane of production, you know, and that's it. One lane of revenue. It's on the agents. And then the agents, it's every 2-3 years they leave, right? Because when they don't have the tools, and honestly, none of the brokerages really gave me the tools to learn how to, you know, find my own business. And I've never bought Zillow leads, right? So I have to change that. I actually did buy Zillow leads when I came here to Florida to hire this agent, not for me, but for her. And I proved a point. Zillow doesn't work. I spent $36,000 because I said, what would it take for you to be here when I'm gone 2 weeks and for you to handle anything that comes in? She said, Zillow. And, you know, I mean, we probably broke even, but we've made more money just off of me on the phone, me picking up the phone, calling strangers. That's where most of the business is coming from. Strangers that are now friends, right?
Right.
Just don't know they're friends yet. So you're right. It's, you know, what are your alternatives, right? What's your exit plan? My exit plan always said, well, they'll be pushing me in my wheelchair and while I'll be selling houses. And it's very different now.
Yeah, I haven't been to too many I haven't been to any real estate agents retirement party, a few funerals, unfortunately, and that's unfortunate. I mean, some agents actually work until they put them in the pine box, and that's another thing that I'm really excited about, and it drives me is how we're able to help our partners, the people that we partner with, to set up an exit plan and be able to you know, get off that transactional treadmill someday, but still have the lifestyle that they've become accustomed to, right?
100%.
Gail, what was your biggest surprise coming over eXp? Something that you didn't expect from an online company?
Honestly, it's the collaboration over competition. Because, you know, I remember, as a matter of fact, I was at a family reunion in Vegas maybe 6-7 months ago, and they were having the Sotheby's convention at the same time. And I remember the feeling going, oh, I had to have the perfect purse, and I had to have the perfect outfit on, and I better have a great listing before I go there. And gosh, if I don't get an award, I feel like crap. But I'll tell you what, it's like, I have never been around so many smart, successful people that are like, instead of having their hand out, you know, what can you give them? It's like, what can they give you? And I'm not just saying that, because if anybody knows me, I am not full of crap. I actually have no filter, and I will tell it like it is.
Yeah.
And it's a blessing and it's a curse at the same time. But I just really haven't had ever, like Pete Middleton, my gosh, I'm not in his organization. He doesn't make any money off of me. I'm not in your organization. I'm not in Randy Bird's organization. But we all come together and we help each other. And I'm like, whatever we're struggling with, it's like, here's what I'm doing to move the needle forward. Here's what we're doing to get business. I mean, let's face it, you know, people think that we just recruit. Okay, what we do is we share the gospel of that you don't have to do this forever, right? Because at the end of the day, eXp is the #1 in production worldwide. We sell more real estate than any other brokerage. So tell me how is that if we're just recruiting, right? I don't know if you know this, but I've said no to over 50 agents who wanted to join eXp because they were not a good fit. They were not a good fit. I only want to work with people that want to sell real estate and want to exceed at a high level and that have ethical morals. And if they sucked when they were in a transaction with me and they were terrible and they don't answer the phone, and there's been quite a few, and then they think, oh, you know, I'm just going to come sign up at your office. No, you know, I'm sorry. This is not, you know, there's other eXp people that may take you. We're not a good fit. But, and they were always pissed, you know, they're just like, what? You know, and at the end of the day, unless people do $5 million a year and they're like actively working, and I know that doesn't sound like a lot. It may sound like a lot to some people. I really don't work with brand new agents. There are some eXp companies that are really, really good. Like, you know, you are really set up for new agents. I just don't have the bandwidth. But at the end of the day, they just have to be nice people. If they're a new agent and they have that willpower and that mindset that they want to survive, not just survive, but thrive and be great. Right. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, you want to surround yourself with other like-minded people that have the same kind of values and goals, and definitely be around people that do, a lot more business than you and I put together, so they can pull you up, right? And we're pulling up the people that need help, and the people above us are pulling us up. And everyone wins that way.
And here's the thing. So it's really interesting. An agent just came over, and for 2 years, she's been, we've been helping each other. When I say helping each other, I actually sold her house, and she was with the #1 agent out of a brokerage in my area. So just kind of helping, remember her calling me at 6 a.m. Hey, I don't have a listing presentation. I'm like, what? I go, it's Sunday. You don't have a listing presentation? So I got up, and because I thought it was something really wrong. She's like, it's like at 8 o'clock in the mornings or anywhere. I'm like, yeah. And so I've been coaching her for only 2 weeks. She's only come over like 3 weeks ago. Do you know this morning she has a listing, and actually I sold that house, right? And she had a listing appointment at it. It's like $1.5 million. And she's going on a listing appointment tomorrow for another $1.8 million. And she's never sold anything over, I think it was maybe 800,000. But her watching me prospect and how I do it, and she's like, I can't believe you're doing this. She goes, I just thought you were trying to sign me up. I go, no. I said, remember, this is a collaboration. So you and I, Andre, we're only as good as our word, right? Do I have time to do this with every agent? No. But if an agent steps up and said, like you and I have always talked about, we will meet them where they're at, right? And I was like, holy crap, she's doing everything she's said that she wanted. She's actually showing up. So if someone shows up, that's why I always say either, if you want something, it's like, shut up or go home. And it's like, if you say you want to really do something, when people see what I do, and honestly, like my mother actually called my brother to say, I think Gail's having financial problems. We could be losing this house. And he's like, Gail, what's going on? She says, I go, what? Because my mom's like, she works like 12 hours a day in that office. Why would anybody work that hard? I had to show her I'm like, look, I don't have a mortgage, but it's like people aren't used to see. I'm like, she's never lived with me, so she doesn't know this is what we do. You and I have talked about it. I'm like, what's your schedule? What's your schedule? Why do I get up at 5 and I can't wait to get down here and get ready before my morning calls? Because I like to be organized. I like to have my coffee. I like to have my word with God. But, in this market, if you are not, if you aren't showing up, you need to shut up and stop complaining. That's really the bottom line here.
Absolutely. Work ethic and consistency will win every day.
Yep.
Well, I really appreciate you pouring into to everyone here today, Gail. If anyone's in the St. Augustine area or your area in Sacramento, California, and again, because we're in all 50 states, 24 other countries, it doesn't matter. But if you want to reach out to Gail, her Instagram handle is on the screen there. Definitely reach out to her. I know she'll be happy to answer any questions and talk about luxury or bringing your business to the next level. We're all willing to help for sure.
Talk about luxury at eXp. Can I just jump in?
Yeah, for sure.
So one thing I want to say is I'm lucky to be one of the 11 ambassadors to really get this program off the ground, because I've been behind the scenes at Sotheby's, behind the scenes at Remax, as far as luxury, where this is like luxury turbocharged, like a luxury in a box. So, if you're thinking of breaking into this market, and this is where you're going to really, really win, because at eXp, we have every week we meet together. If you become a luxury member, you're going to get more knowledge, more support. Like I had to go on a $3 million. Well, it really wasn't more $3 million. She wanted $3.2 million here in St. Augustine. I've never sold a waterfront beach home. I brought another eXp agent with me that is not in my organization. She helped me tremendously. She's one of the founders of the luxury department here at eXp. And she, was so instrumental, and all of us feed into you. I could have never asked another Sotheby's agent, hey, I don't know you, but will you come and go with me on this listing appointment? She had everything from comps to this to that. You know, it was incredible. So you're going to get everything that you could ever wish for as far as support, as far as marketing tools and knowledge. You could either do it by yourself and let it take you 10 years, or do it with us and do it in a year. So, you know, I can't say more. If you want to learn more about the luxury at eXp, we're bringing out things that are going to blow everybody's, you know, mind. I'm saving $20,000 from last year, because I used to pay $700 to have for each listing, to have everything put into Wall Street Journal, Forbes, Mansion Global, all those different networks. Here, you could do 10 for like $2,500. It's ridiculous. But anyway, I just want to say that because I'm super excited about the luxury here at eXp.
That's awesome. What are some of the tools with luxury at eXp that you guys have that you either didn't have before, or that you guys have put a package together to make it what it is?
Right. And anybody who wants me to do a live demonstration, just reach out to me on Instagram and I could do a screen share. But I mean, it's everything from your listing presentations. Like when I go on, like I just prospected and I'm going on my second appointment, and it's probably a $6 million home that it'll sell for. And it's been on the market with a local Remax. Okay. So it's been on the market with a local Remax, and there's no way they had, you know, when I showed him, because I dropped in pictures, I did a whole presentation for him, and when I showed him where, you know, and we're in so many more countries. We have a huge, you know, global reach. And anybody in a second market like I am over here in St. Augustine, you're not going to get a local buyer buying one of those homes. It's an international reach. But one of the best things I've gotten, Andre, honestly, I mean, besides just drop and play and I mean, plug and play, it's just been amazing, is I've been getting referrals. Like we were having our own referral network. I just got a $2 million cash buyer referral from an agent in New York that found me on the eXp luxury workplace. So I'm working with this wonderful couple. They're characters from New York, and that wouldn't have happened at Sotheby's, because what happens when you get a referral? At Sotheby's, Remax, Coldwell Banker, it goes to the front desk, goes to the broker. The broker decides who they're going to give it to. Mm-hmm. That's what happens, right? And it's usually them. It's usually the broker who gets it, and then they do the deal. We're here, people can pick, you know, I mean, we're constantly posting on our workplace, hey, I need a referral agent in, you know, Port Jefferson, Long Island. I need, you know, a buyer's agent in El Dorado Hills, California. And you have an opportunity to apply directly. Right. So that's the thing. We've done 7 referrals just in California over the last year, over $5 million in sales just from the workplace. That's pretty darn good, right? So
yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, I appreciate you, Gail. One last question I always like to ask people towards the end of our podcast. What's your biggest regret in real estate, in your real estate life?
Oh yeah, that's an easy one. My biggest regret is I had everything screwed up. I had business first, then I had my family, then God, right? And honestly, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. We had 21 deals at the same time. I had 7 coming on the market, 7 pending, 7 ready to close, you know, that had just closed, their follow-up. And I looked at my partner, Val Turner, and I go, something's got to change because I feel like I'm going to die. I really felt like, and she's like, I'm miserable. You're miserable. Your husband hates you. My husband hates me. Our kids don't like us anymore. And we just started praying really hard. We just started praying like out loud together. And from that moment on, it was always God, then family, and then our clients, right? And once we got everything in the right order, everything changed, everything. So we're not perfect. I mean, it's like, you know, we still have situations and things we have to work on. But once we did that and we realized that we can't replace, you know, I mean, really, And you know, I'm a person of faith. That's why, you know, when I first saw you speak on stage, I was like, I really connected with you, even though you didn't know I was connecting and stalking you. I was like, he has the same exact, you know, same ethics, the same desire that I have. And for God to even bring us together in a coaching program is super cool. I mean, that's so cool. So that's my biggest regret, putting money first, right? Putting client, why do I say money? Because clients equal money. I should have put my faith, and everything else would have worked out. And everything is.
If you could join eXp all over again, what would you do differently?
Oh gosh, I would have done it a long, long time ago. That's what I would have done differently. I would have, do you know how much money I'd have probably an extra $1 million in my retirement fund from what I've paid brokers, according to my accountant, Truman. So I would have done it early, but you know what? Here's the thing. Everything that I've done, I can't ever go back in time, and it's always been a stepping stone. And who knows, maybe I would have left if I would have come 4 years ago, right? Because we've grown so much as a company.
Right.
I mean, we have so many, you know, we're so far ahead. You know, I mean, when I joined, which was only 2.5 years ago, we only had 44,000 agents. We're almost at 90,000 agents. So as they grow, you know, there's new programs being put in. I mean, we have the largest relocation company right now, right? We've had one of the largest REO departments. So they're hiring all the best talent from all, you know, all the different competition. So it's like everybody that had something so great, we now have that person working with us. So I feel like it's perfect timing, to be honest. So there's nothing I really would do differently. I probably would have been a little bit more open-minded, because my first 6 months, I still thought it was a crazy science project, and I didn't really quite understand why I was there, because it was not my idea. It was my partner's idea to come. But so like you know, like you had said to me, hey, Gail, the most expensive thing you can ever own is a closed mind, right? And so that is the truest statement that I've heard in our coaching group. And I promise not to have a closed mind anymore. So I'm going to be open-minded and just give and receive the way that, you know, God wants us to.
Amen. Well, it's been a pleasure getting to know you, Gail, and looking forward to, as we continue both growing our businesses and changing other real estate agents' lives. My very last question I always ask people, if you're a book reader, what's a book that you'd like to recommend to our listeners, or your best movie that you recommend if you're a movie watcher?
Oh, 90 Day Fiance. Oh, just kidding. No. That is a good show, if you want mindless junk. But my favorite book, and I've probably read it 3 times, is by Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference. And get it on Audible. I actually went down. Never Split the Difference. He was the #1 kidnapping negotiator for the FBI for over 25 years.
Wow.
And I heard him like on a podcast or something, or maybe YouTube. And I found out he was speaking in San Diego. I flew down. I paid my whatever, the thousands of dollars it was. I was sitting in a room, not one realtor, and they were all like CFOs from companies. And I had to negotiate a cargo of vodka, right, with another guy sitting next to me. And I couldn't believe I won it. And then we had to negotiate kidnapping, but it's really interesting, all the tools they teach. But get that book, Never Split the Difference. It's amazing.
Well, that's awesome. I haven't heard that before, and I wrote it down. So that's awesome.
Yes.
Thanks again, Gail. I really appreciate your time. Thanks everyone for tuning in to the Financial Freedom Forever podcast, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks again, Gail. Have a great day.
Thank you, Andre.
All right.
Appreciate you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Listen to what our business partners are saying about our FFF group.
Plenty of leaders out there, and this is the kind of group, the Financial Freedom Group, is you're not serving Andre, Andre's serving you, okay? Here's what I mean with this, perfect example. So I sent out these 50 emails referencing Andre, and I thought, as a courtesy, I'm gonna copy Andre on this, so he sees what I'm sending out, right? Just professional courtesy. This was on a Saturday. Sunday morning, before I get up, everybody's getting ready for church and everything, I look, and Andre, on his own, of his own volition, personally reached out to all 50 of those people, individual emails, on his own. Well, I didn't ask for it. He did it on his own. That's the kind of support I'm talking about. That's the kind of leadership that I'm talking about. That's the kind of leadership you deserve, everybody deserves, everybody should ask for and expect in any company. We have it in the Financial Freedom Group. So thank you, Andre.
To get your questions answered and learn more about why people are joining eXp by 1,000 people a week and partnering up with us, please go to partnerwithandre.com or click the link below, check out the videos, and let's have a private conversation.